Just a stupid way to act, to just immediately be willing to villainize men to get likes.
It's not stupid. It's calculated, and it's evil.
It's evil. Yeah, it's not stupid, but I don't know. I just, I hate it. And it's a real shitty way to be. It's because if you were funny, you wouldn't need to do that.
Right. You wouldn't have time.
Yeah,
It's so much more fun to just be funny, write jokes, think
exactly.
of humor that makes everyone feel good as opposed to picking on a demographic and for the jokes to be like obviously not funny to that demographic, you know?
Yeah,
Like a joke about a race is only funny if that race thinks it's funny too,
that's true. Yeah,
or any demographic.
yeah,
A gay joke, anything. Trans joke can be funny as long as trans people laugh and it makes
yeah,
them feel like part of it. Because I feel like when you're in open mics and everyone's doing trans jokes, a lot of the time they're not jokes that trans people
mm-mm.
would like, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna bully the other, and a lot of
Yeah,
people think that's humor because people like you, we're bullying the other, we're bonding, we're creating an enemy.
yeah. We're bonding against a common enemy. But if there's even one of those people in the crowd, like you're making somebody feel awful for who they are.
Yeah, and not just those people, anyone who sympathizes with them, basically
Yeah,
anyone who has empathy for minorities is gonna
yeah.
feel ostracized because you're creating this us versus them.
Speaking of people with no empathy for minorities, how about that Kill Tony alley?
Why? What? How did? Oh, just because that one guy was saying things.
It was just pockets. Like, I mean, because I kind of listen to conversations as they're going on around me,
Yeah.
and I'll like tune in and out. And it's just like the Irish were the first slaves. We were the N word before the. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get out of this. And then it's just like complaining about trans people, complaining about gay people, complaining about minorities. And it's like, why don't you worry about getting funny?
Right. Well, because attention, right? It's easier to get attention
Yeah.
just by being hateful. Well, people will pay attention. Like right now, we're talking about it, so it got our attention, and it's hard to get attention in a original, creative, artistic way. It's
Yeah.
it's easy to just be a flame, basically have a flame war against people who aren't even there.
But
And you could tell that he thought that was like a funny thing to say. Like he was
absolutely.
gonna go up on stage and say that,
Yeah.
and assume that the crowd would be like with it, which I
Yeah.
hope not.
No. Please, God, no. But it's weird because it's like they have this incessant need for attention all the time. It's like, okay, I like attention. We all like attention. But I
Mhm.
like it whenever I'm on stage, obviously, or if I'm posting something. But if I'm essentially in a waiting room, because that's what that is, you're just in a place waiting for something. I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need to be. It's like, let's just like chill out.
What about in conversation where you're being funny? Is that kind of like performing for you?
Yeah, if I'm being funny, if it comes to me, if I'm having funny thoughts, I will do it. But I also have no problem hanging back. Like, if I don't have something funny to contribute, I'm not going to force it to try to be the center of attention.
Right, and you don't get offended when other people try to partake
No,
in.
if they're funny, if they're not funny, I'm a little offended. But if they actually have something
Okay,
funny to say,
now if when people say things that aren't funny, do you ever have fun making fun of them?
it depends. So if it's a friend, if it's somebody that I am like cool with and they don't mind me making a little jab at them and we both laugh about it, that's okay. But I've never like I mean, people have done that to you and I where it's like we say something and maybe it doesn't hit and then they turn the whole conversation, everybody's attention to be about your thing didn't work. How embarrassing. Oh, well, I don't have anything nice to say about that. Yeah. Hmm.
Well,
And I think that's an asshole move. If you're not
they're not being
friends,
funny.
they're not being
There's a
funny,
funny way
no.
to do it. There's a funny way to
Yeah,
make fun of someone for bombing a joke or for trying to do a bit
of
in.
course.
And I think it's like reading the room.
Yeah.
And when people are mean because you're trying to be funny, especially amongst comedians,
It's very insecure of
right?
them to do.
And I think they think for some reason that they're in control or they're showing power,
Yeah.
because what they can say that to you and you don't react with violence because you're a woman, so or you don't push them or you don't, get in their face or anything, and it's
Yeah.
like it's almost like you try a joke and then a man is like, oh, I don't know what to say to that. It's basically like, I'm a man and you're a woman, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you can't say anything to me, like, you're not going to because you're
Yeah.
scared of me, so like
It's just
using that.
weird. It's a weird power trip. I never really react. Like, I mean, I know that they
Mhm.
want me to react, right? They want me to get mad or they want me to try to say something to them or get upset. And I'll just, like, kind of, like, shrug or just get on my phone and just ignore them.
I keep nitpicking you, and because you keep saying things are weird,
Mm-hmm.
and that means that they're like uncommon or strange.
No.
No, what do you mean then by weird?
All right. Well, I think to me, it's like weird is hard for me to understand. Doesn't necessarily mean it's uncommon. So to me, like, it's weird. TikTok is weird. I don't like TikTok as an app. Tons of people use it, but it's weird to me because I don't like the app. I don't get it. I don't get the obsession with it. People's like just speaking to each other in TikTok sounds. It's common among young people. It's definitely not uncommon, but it's weird to me.
No, so weird to you means bad. Seems like something
Mm,
that you don't like. That's weird.
a little bit.
Yeah, because I think what you mean is uh, when let's say that someone is mean. I mean, that's more mean. I feel like almost like saying weird is
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, it's like it's a little more vague, so you don't actually have to take a big stance. If you say that's kind of weird, and it's like you're
All right.
leaving it
Well,
open to,
it's cuntish.
yeah,
How about that?
it's being a bitch, it's being a coward, it's being a
It's
bully,
petty.
it's bullying.
Yeah.
You know, I think we should treat that behavior for what it is, not let it get away with just being weird, because it almost feels like weird has
To me,
also a positive
it's
connotation.
also they make it weird, isn't like they make it awkward.
Okay.
They make the whole situation weird and awkward where it's like before everybody's just kind of having conversation, there was a flow to it, and I like, unsuccessfully tried to contribute something. Everybody does that. Not
Yeah.
everything you say, you don't have 100% hit rate. Every once in a while you say
Just
something.
99.9.
All right. Anyways, sometimes you say something and it's not funny, and that's what happens sometimes. And then they have to turn the whole focus of everybody into look at this person and how they failed.
A lot of the
And
time,
most of the time, I mean, like I know in that situation, nobody was on his side, but nobody else said anything. Like nobody there was a confrontational person, so nobody was like, "You're a fucking cunt," but just the energy was like, "All right, let's fucking. I wish this didn't happen."
well, like being like you're a fucking cunt shows that you're angry, and then that's kind of what they want. They kind of
Yeah,
want that reaction, so
yeah.
that's letting them win.
Well, I would never react to them doing it to me, but if somebody else were there and he did that, because this was a specific incident, and he did that, and somebody else said, "Stop being a fucking cunt."
Even that, I think the best, like the way that I deal with that is to ignore them or create a different
I
conversation.
just started talking to someone else. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't even give them
The
the
power.
satisfaction to,
Yeah.
like, you're a fucking cunt, because that gets their dick hard. That's
Yeah.
their fucking
But yeah, so I just turned to the person next to me and I started talking to them. I was like, well, he's out. Like, I'm just going to talk to you now.
that's good. That's
Let him go back to fucking bartending at this shithole.
hmm yeah, that's the way to deal with it. Don't give them what they want. They want a reaction. That's
Yeah.
just like trolls and comments. They want you to be upset.
Yeah.
And so if you ever go on someone's page and you're going through their comments and you see that they
Only
reply,
respond to negative ones.
or that they respond to all of them, but they
Yeah.
definitely also respond to negative ones as well.
Yeah.
Or if they only respond to negative ones, that's even crazier.
Yeah.
But that is why there's so many comments. If you ignore them,
Yeah.
eventually they'll go away, because People don't have the time. They'll go bully someone else. You
Yeah.
know, usually just not being funny or not being entertaining isn't enough for someone to take the time to like talk to you unless they think you might respond.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then they're getting what they want. They're bothering you.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to, even if it does bother you to read it,
Mhm.
you have to be able to ignore it. Or if you have a actual funny response, then you can do that. But
Yeah.
I see people that their response is just like, well, my comedy is for intelligent people. And it's like, well, now you seem like a cunt.
Yeah, it's very hard to win in that situation when somebody's left you a negative comment. You
I
have
don't,
to.
I don't think it's that hard if you're funny. If you can read the situation, there's a lot of time there is something funny to say. A lot of time there's not. But if there
Yeah.
is, it's not hard. It'll just come to you
Yeah,
naturally.
but I just mean a lot of the time there isn't anything
Sure,
funny to
and then
say
you
to
just
it.
ignore it.
Yeah, which is I think I definitely used to respond to negative stuff more, and now I stopped.
But when there is a negative comment and it has like by far the most likes, then there might be something to
That's
it.
when there's a problem. Yeah, but I mean, on most of my stuff, the negative ones typically don't get very much traction,
Yeah.
and usually there's somebody that will argue with them.
Yeah. Or I think for you, a lot of times the negative comments are like basically taking what you're saying literally and out of
Yeah,
context.
people that don't understand comedy.
Or they understand comedy and they're intentionally choosing to pretend like they're misunderstanding it
Yeah.
to get attention.
Yeah.
So like they're trying to find their way to get attention. So like, oh, this
Yeah.
person's getting views, so people will see my comment. So even though I do understand what she means, I'm gonna pretend like I don't, or I'm gonna nitpick it so that I can get likes, I can get attention.
Yeah. I think rather than like responding to people or giving them any attention, what satisfies me is just looking at their profile. Because this bitch looked like a horse, you
Yeah.
know, or like it's always some guy with
Not
just
the
like,
body, just the face.
just the face. She didn't well, it's a private account because she's a fucking bitch and a coward. So most of them are private accounts. If they are public, usually they have like fucking 40 followers, which is like your value isn't based on followers, but also if you look at this, you compare. I think I'm a little funnier than you.
Right.
So
It's
or
rare that it's somebody that has like,
no big accounts
yeah.
don't shit on my stuff. I've never had anybody even close to like with as big of a profile as mine, like anywhere close to that. Nobody's ever been like shitty to me in my comments. It's always some private account, somebody with no profile picture, some just incel, obviously, or you know some horse face bitch.
Like, can you tell someone's an incel just by looking at them?
Yeah.
But what about the women that are awful, that need someone? Isn't there a potential that they're with those guys?
Women have higher standards.
That's true, but there's also a lot of dumb women
Absolutely.
that like bullies, that like that are conservative, that are like,
The thing about so
Candace
what
Owens.
to me what makes an incel is a combination. Usually, now obviously there's exceptions. There are some people whose personality is so rancid that they can be attractive and it doesn't make any difference. But
Like the Powder Puff Girls were what sugar and spice and
Uh-huh.
everything nice.
Yeah.
And incels is like everything but sugar and spice.
yeah, so usually you know, a beard with no border, you know. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's just kind of like a manifest destiny beard creeping up his forehead and shit.
Okay, well, so like a neck beard.
A neck beard, but it's not just the neck, because I think neck beard, yeah, that's always the thing. But it's usually like
Cheeks?
cheeks and shit too. Usually just something significantly wrong with their face, some kind of proportionary mistake that God made, and and usually they have some kind of hobby that they're posting that they're not good at. So they're playing guitar, but they're ass. They're doing vape tricks, but it gets no likes. They're a violinist, but they're bad at
I love
it.
there's a failed vapist out there.
There's so many, dude. I mean,
And that's
it's a
what they're
competitive
posting, and they're sharing it.
it's a competitive fucking world in the world of vape.
Man, if I posted my vapes, which I don't even vape, except when I steal your vape, it's just out of boredom. But if
Mm-hmm.
I posted like what happens when I blow air out,
You probably
it would
get
just
more
it would be
attention.
funny.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
It is really funny watching cigarette smokers try to hit a vape because
yeah,
it's like you would think, but it doesn't translate. It's like it just doesn't translate, man. It's like a bodybuilder trying to swim.
yeah, yeah. They're too. So what's the age? Because in swimming, I remember that a lot of the people that were good at swimming, well, especially the women's swimmers,
Mm-hmm.
like they wouldn't look like athletes. They'd be very like, round and
Well, fat floats, muscle sinks. That's why chimps are very bad at swimming because chimps have a very high density of muscle.
yeah, they're ripped. They'll rip
Yeah,
your face off.
yeah. So if you're ever getting chased by a chimp, try to get into a body of water.
And they get eaten by a crocodile.
My pet chimp's ripping my face off. Let me get in the tub. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, chimps are bad at swimming because they have so much muscle. So yeah, if you're a swimmer, you want to be lean but also still have some body fat. Having no body fat is not good for swimming because then you're less buoyant.
Mhm.
You want to have some buoyancy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, now Michael Phelps, he was pretty ripped, right?
Yeah,
How was he so good at it? Do you think? I mean, I know you're not a swimmonologist, but
swim knowledge. Well, he wasn't huge though. Like he was
he was
definitely lean,
lean.
like a
Okay.
lot of muscle,
Yeah.
but he wasn't like built, like jacked.
Okay.
Um, like I bet The Rock is bad at swimming
Mhm.
because he's just all muscle.
Yeah. I don't remember it.
The Rock sinks
If I
just like a real rock.
That's funny. I'm
The
trying to,
Rock would fucking sink like a stone, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture him in like a swim cap, and I feel like I've seen that, and it was like definitely supposed to be comedic, supposed to be laughed at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of a fighting, running, not even so much,
Yeah.
but more just
Thing is,
punching.
The Rock can't swim, but he can definitely drown you.
Yeah, right. He doesn't need to swim.
Yeah. What the fuck? Like
He just reach
he's
into the
evolved past swimming.
he just reach into the swamp and just pull out an alligator and just break it in half over his knee.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, to be an alligator.
If I was looking at his movies, he's not The Rock anymore. You know, he's always
No.
Dwayne Johnson, because
The Rock is wrestling.
well, at the beginning of his movie career, he was The Rock
Yeah.
because nobody knew his name.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, people still call him The Rock more
Yeah.
than Dwayne Johnson, but WWE owns The Rock, like the trademark.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever he started out his movie career, he had to give a lot of his money
to
back
them to
to
use
them
it.
to use that name. So
Yeah.
now that he doesn't need it, it's Dwayne Johnson, which is, I think, really terrible. Honestly, it's not the greatest name.
Yeah.
Dwayne, name one other Dwayne in Hollywood. I mean, Dwayne doesn't really, it's short for the Wayne, I think.
Yeah, it's yeah. Dwayne. Rock Dwayne Johnson.
He was The Rock and now he's the Wayne.
Yeah.
It's it's actually Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right?
No, it's
Or-
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
Rock the Dwayne.
Rock the Johnson, Dwayne. That's a porn star.
I was gonna say that makes me it's a completely different.
Yeah.
Hey, rock that Johnson, Dwayne. Okay, all right.
Yeah, with Kevin Fart.
Yeah, but well, I guess Lil Wayne was the thing is Lil Wayne. His name's Dwayne.
Is it?
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
I did not know that. Fuck.
yeah. But even he goes by Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even use Dwayne.
Yeah. He's like, you'll get the D later.
Yeah, he probably says that at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, Dwayne is a interesting name.
It doesn't sound like a professor could ever be Dwayne.
No. So think about the dwa sound.
not a lot of Dwa names.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Fucking Dwan.
Well, there's DW and Arthur.
Oh, she's a fucking bitch. Everyone hates her, so that just kind of proves the point.
Okay, yeah, I'm not up to my. I'm not. I'm left on season 1 still of Arthur.
Just think about other names. If you put a D, Dwillis.
Yeah. Can you
Uh,
imagine getting advice from Dwillis?
yeah.
You know, it's good advice and everything. At the end, you have to say, "Oh, well, thank you,
The
Dwill."
William?
Yeah. Why Wayne? Why does Wayne get the D? And they,
Yeah.
what's wrong with Wayne? Wayne's an okay name. It's not the greatest, but
That's
it's better
fine.
than Dwayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, DW doesn't do anything else besides start Dwayne. I can't think
Yeah.
of any word that starts with that. You know, it's just
I
14
can't even
minutes
think
of us
of.
just sitting here trying to think.
Oh man, if they did women's names, Dwindy.
Duende.
Let's go get some Dwindies, man.
Duende means it means gnome in Spanish.
Dwindy?
Duende.
Duende. Interesting. Fucking.
I think I'm gonna start trying to teach our listeners one Spanish word on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And duende is your word of the day.
Is there a word for clip?
No, they don't have the clue in Spanish.
That's
I'm
fucked.
kidding. Of course they do.
Oh.
If anyone has the clit, it's Spanish. Come on.
All right. What is it?
Clitoris.
Deterus?
Clitoris.
Oh. Oh, it's just fucking. It's just with a little spice on it.
I don't know. I've never said clitoris in Spanish,
Clitoris.
but I'm pretty sure it's just clitoris. You know, I mean, why wouldn't it be just like it's the medical term, right? It comes from Latin, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I don't
wonder
know.
if there's
I want to
slang
look it
for
up.
it.
Slang?
We need to find like a native speaking like Mexican because they always know so much slang.
They definitely don't know clitoris.
It's funny. It's funny. But Spanish slang is crazy because it's like hard enough to learn Spanish, and then it's like I'm like, okay, what does verga mean? And they're like, oh well, a la verga means like oh my god, and it's like, but it also means cock, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, ala is like to the, like,
To the cock is an exclamation, which is insane.
well, like holy shit means an exclamation, right? But if you
Yeah.
break that down literally, it's not, does not sound like what you mean, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I just can't. You see a car accident, you're like, to the cock.
Yeah. It is clitoris. It's clitoris with just a little accent on the I.
Cute.
Yeah.
I used to think before I'd ever heard the word and I'd only read it, I thought it was clitoris,
Hmm.
but that's a type of Ford.
Now, it can never be pronounced clitoris? No, right? Because sometimes words can be pronounced in more than one way and it's still...
I think if you say clitoris, it shows that you've never seen one
A clitoris is a clitoris that belongs
on a
to
dinosaur.
someone who was born between the months of...
Oh yeah. Man, if either of us knew zodiac signs,
Yeah.
that could be a really good joke. I want to say it's a
April?
summer birthday.
I know I'm Aries, which is March.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of February, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Taurus is after that, though.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Oh shit, you're an Aries?
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I move out. I go back to my parents' house in Houston because I find out you're an Aries. No, that doesn't mean anything.
How come Taurus is the only zodiac sign with a car?
Give me a minute. You might be right. I think you are right.
I know. I'm asking why.
I don't know.
Actually, I didn't know I was right. I thought hopefully I'm right.
Well, I'm going through all of them, right? It's like Capricorn, Aquarius, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. I don't think any of those are
Sagittarius?
Sagittarius. Man, I always forget Sagittarius. They are the most forgettable zodiac sign. If you're a Sagittarius, sorry.
I can see a Gemini being something, but not a car. Maybe like a water
plane.
ski,
A jet ski.
a jet ski.
Yeah, the Gemini jet ski.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like a
Maybe.
four-wheeler.
Well, Gemini is two. It's two of them, right? There's it's
Twins.
so like maybe skis. Yeah, jet ski would work.
Yeah. Chevy Capricorn. It sounds like it could be something.
Yeah, but nobody's buying it.
Yeah.
Unless maybe Capricorns, and just because
A bunch of freaks.
they're lame. It's like, Ooh, just like me. I need the Chevy Capricorn.
I'm a Capricorn, you son of a bitch.
So
I'm out. It's both my parents were Capricorns.
incest, kind of, right?
Yeah. No, just a bunch of people with badly timed birthdays, super close to Christmas. Your daughter's a Capricorn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that. Well, April 18th for my youngest daughter, so I think she might be a Taurus, but I'm not sure. I think she might be.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I think I've talked to you about it before. It's like I don't believe in zodiac signs mattering, but I do think the time of year you're born in can have effects on your personality.
Hmm.
Like if did you ever read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell?
No.
So he talks about how different kids that were born in different parts of the year, they get put in the same school grade, right?
Yeah.
But if you're born in January, December, you are older than the other kids in your class, which means that
Well.
typically you're more higher achieving because you're older.
Uh huh. Well, I think for my class, and I think well for high school, it's
Mm-hmm.
whoever's born like latest August or earliest September,
Mm-hmm.
because like that's the beginning of the school year. So like you were if you turned 18 first day of school,
Yeah.
like you're 18 the entire school year, and then
Mm-hmm.
everyone else is completing the year later on. So like the people born in July are
Yeah.
like almost a complete year younger than the people that are born in August, and they
Mm-hmm.
could potentially be in the same grade.
Yeah. And anyways, so that affects obviously if you're older than the other kids in your class, you will be typically higher achieving and then you get held to higher standards. You get given more like extracurricular stuff, more responsibility.
Yeah, you have
And
a head
then
start.
yeah, and so then they grow up to be a bit more responsible, which could be why it's like Capricorns they say are like responsible and this and that. It more I think it more has to do with the, you know, nurture versus nature. It's the way that you're raised and how you're treated growing up, and if you're older, you're going to be uh higher achieving, and then that gets awarded and you get held to higher standards, so you continue to be high achieving.
Oh, so you believe in that?
Yeah, because I mean they
It's
did a
like to be
study on it.
scientifically
They did
proven.
yeah, they did studies and shit on
It
it
has
in
nothing
this
to do
book.
with
The moon
the
and the
moon
fucking
and
stars, that's all
the symbol
bullshit.
and stuff. It's just
No.
the time.
Yeah. It's just what time of year you were born.
Mm-hmm.
People with winter birthdays tend to have a bit different different outcomes than people with summer birthdays and shit. So,
I would say it's probably a pretty small amount of difference, though. I don't.
yeah, I mean it's not a ginormous difference. It's like pretty you know, you could ignore it probably, but I think that
I
that
try to
kind of
ignore it. I like to give everyone a fair shot. I don't like.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't take anybody's zodiac sign into account whenever like I meet them or speak to them. It's like if they tell me, I'm like, cool. That's to me saying telling me what your zodiac sign is the same as like my favorite color is green.
I think it's worse because I think the fact that you tell someone your zodiac sign
Well,
means that you think
sometimes
it's like important or something, or that you think that it matters.
not everybody puts that much stock in it. Sometimes it just comes up in conversation. It's like usually whenever it comes up in a conversation, there's one girl, it's like never a guy. There's one girl that gives a shit, and so then everybody. It's kind of one of those things where it's just like, oh well, we all have something to say to this. We all have one, right? So we can all have input in this conversation, and we all get to say what we are and add to it. But I think most of the other people in the conversation don't typically give a shit.
It's
It's
like
just like, let me not be a weirdo and not contribute to this.
just like ammunition for small talk. It's just like
Yes. Yeah, it's the same thing. Where are you from?
yeah, yeah. Where are you from? And you tell them, and then they try to put you in a box. What race are you? You tell them, they try to put you in a box. Like I hate
Mm.
these conversations. I hate like when
Yeah.
people ask me, "Oh, you're from Wisconsin? What do you think people ask follow up with after that?"
So you're an alcoholic?
That would be more accurate. But what
You
they
like cheese?
that's exactly it. Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. People never I guess it's kind of a cool thing about being from a state where nobody knows shit about it.
Texas?
No, I'm not from Texas.
Oh, North Carolina.
Yeah. What do you know about North Carolina?
Michael Jordan.
I'm Michael Jordan. I can dunk. But yeah, nobody knows what to say to that. I'm like, I was born in North Carolina. They're like, oh, you like it up there? Like, there's no.
It's not even north.
Yeah.
It's east.
There's nothing to say about it. There's a lot of states I think where it's like there's nothing to say about it, and then Wisconsin is one of those where it's like, oh, cheese.
That's funny. Yeah, it's like Idaho. So
You eat potatoes? We all fucking eat potatoes. You
right,
piece of
and
shit.
everyone eats cheese.
Yeah. They really did fuck with the cheese there though. I mean, we went to the gas stations.
Oh yeah, cheese curds.
Just bags upon bags of cheese.
Hell
You
yeah.
can't say that they're not into cheese there.
Yeah.
Um.
No, yeah, and I love cheese,
Yeah.
but the thing is like, it's just I don't identify as a
Of
cheese
course.
lover.
Of course not. Yeah, and then like what I guess
I kind of want some now though.
Yeah.
You know that's why Packers fans wear cheese heads, because the Bears fans started to call the Packers fans cheese heads, and
As a diss.
yeah, as a diss, and so they were like, you know what, we
Hell
are
yeah.
we are cheese heads,
Yeah.
and they embraced it.
Yeah. But there's so many states that really you can't think of shit. Like, I mean,
Most of
what,
'em.
California, oh, do you surf? Or fucking, do you like the beach? But it's like,
Yeah.
I'm from Virginia. Do your family fuck each other? What do you...
Yeah, West Virginia. It's like, oh, yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
incest.
Yeah. Maine, I guess there's seafood. Do you like seafood?
Hell yeah.
It's like we all like seafood. We all like cheese. We all like fucking seafood. We all like potatoes. None of this means anything. Fucking ask me about my dead parent. This would be more fun, honestly.
Yeah. Now, do you bring up that your dad's dead in small talk?
As soon as I can.
Yeah.
How's the weather? It would be better if my dad was alive. No, I'm very forthcoming, I think, with all of my shit because I don't give a shit. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Chances are I'm not going to see this person again. If I do see him again, they'll remember me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if anybody asks me anything, I'm just a Reddit ask me anything all the time.
I think your dad being dead, I think for you, it's like, it's very complex. I think for most people that if their dad's dead and they were like raised by them, they lived with them, they had a normal relationship with them, then it's like, my dad's dead, and then I feel like you expect me to feel I'm sad. We had great memories. I talked to my mom about him. I talked to my brothers. We all we remember him fondly. We have a memorial. We celebrate.
We had
things.
closure.
There's closure and that stuff. And that's sad when your dad dies at that, and then that's what you have to deal with afterwards.
Yeah.
But the thing is, for you,
he was far away. Didn't get to see him much. Didn't even know that he was put in the nursing home he got put in. Nobody told me anything. And I didn't get to go to so there was like no closure, which I think is why I kind of detach myself from it a lot of the time when I talk about it, when I joke about it. Now if I sit down and I really think about it, I can get upset if I really dwell on it hard and I actually think about him as a person. But like for the most part, I'm kind of able to just like talk about it casually because it honestly didn't feel real. And sometimes it still doesn't feel completely real because I wasn't there. I never went to the memorial. I never saw him in his like final days. I never got to say goodbye.
and you have brothers and sisters. You have brothers.
I have brothers.
And the ones that you do share father with.
So
you only have one brother that you have, right?
Confirmed biologically, yeah.
But probably two.
Probably two, but
it probably doesn't matter because as long as he
wasn't raised by him.
Wasn't raised by him.
Yeah.
So that's tough too because you don't have anyone. You have one brother that might relate to you, but he saw him more, right? Didn't he see him a lot more?
Yes, he lived with him.
He lived with them. Okay.
So, but the thing was is that there's a lot of like contempt between them because
Really?
it is really hard to be around somebody when they're dying. And my
So that was when
dad,
the contempt.
no, it was always there. I mean, it was a father-son relationship a lot of the time. There is kind of that standoffishness and the macho thing. I mean, my dad was old as shit. So, as a daughter, he was very affectionate with me. He's very close with me. He was obviously able to show more emotion with me because I was his daughter. I was his princess and all that shit. But with him being his son, it was a lot more expectation, a lot more criticism. I mean, you get it. You have a dad.
Yeah. And whenever my dad has a few drinks, he completely changes, which
And my
makes.
dad was sober.
Oh. Sometimes you gotta drink a few just so you can tell your son you love him.
He was too bad of an alcoholic to like he couldn't have a few,
Oh,
you know.
he was.
He was a
Yeah.
really bad alcoholic, and then he got sober around the time either before or around the time I was born.
Okay.
I think before. I want to say it was before my older brother was born or maybe after he was, but he wasn't an alcoholic any time that I could remember. And like my older brother never talks about him having drinks, so I think he got sober before that.
I think people who get drunk, they either get nice
Yeah.
or they get mean.
Yeah.
And like my dad would get nice,
Yeah.
my uncle would get nice, my other uncle would get mean, and I think that I always thought that showed I would always take that as that's how they really feel about me.
Mhm.
So like my dad, when he would drink, he would get nice, he would say really nice things.
Yeah, he
So
would open up. Well, it depends on where your inhibitions are at. So, if you are inhibited to show emotion because you're raised, machismo and stuff like that, and then you drink and then your inhibitions are gone and now you can tell your son that you love him.
right,
Or you are a mean person inside and that's what you are holding back all the time
hmm
and you drink and then that's what comes out.
right, and so that's why when someone gets mean when they're drunk, I'm like,
Oh, you're a bad person.
yeah, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
this whole time you've been just pretending.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think when you're drunk, that's who you really are. To an extent. Obviously, it's an exaggerated version of
For
who
me,
you
for
are.
sure, I'm a lot more goofy.
Yeah.
Um, if I have enough energy, otherwise I'll sleep.
I drink condiments.
Yeah.
I'll shoot the fuck out of a ranch cup.
Ugh.
Like yeah,
What's your favorite dressing?
Italian dressing.
Yeah. Would you drink it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have. You think I've been
Answer me like
fucking
I'm asking a stupid question.
you fucking idiot? Of course I've taken a swig out of a bottle of fucking Paul Newman Italian dressing.
Like everyone's doing shots. We're doing shots, y'all. And you
Yeah.
come up with I got my own shit. And you fucking little PN.
Yeah, it is validating when you find like another person that's the same kind of fat as you,
Yeah.
because it's like there's okay, you know what pisses me off? Fat picky people.
Mm.
It's like really fuck you. All right, you embrace it. Like
Uh huh.
that's annoying. Can you imagine
You
if
see
you
like a
fucking
500-pound person picking off like onions off of their burger.
yeah? I'm like you stupid bitch. You
Ooh,
fucking
you know what's
piece
a
of
really
shit.
fat move? Ordering onion rings and just eating the breading and not eating the onion
Oh my
inside.
god, yeah.
That's like a 700-pound millionaire right now doing that.
Yeah. Just get bread. Just order bread.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate fat picky people. Now I understand that not everybody is like as disgusting as I am and I don't expect them to be.
Yeah.
But there was one time where my friend Jake was over and he was like really drunk and I had just bought a bottle of Olive Garden Italian dressing and he just started fucking throwing it back and I was like, "Hell yeah, dog. I'm not alone in this world."
Yeah, I can see how it'd be okay. But hey, I was just thinking, do you think it should be legal? Maybe meth and cocaine should be legal?
For fat people?
Yeah. They're already as unhealthy as they could
All
be.
right, but counterpoint, very bad for your heart. Also,
Well,
cocaine doesn't always make you skinny.
yeah, but let's try it. Let's try it.
Mm.
Let's give it a whirl.
I think meth can make you skinny if you're obese, but I don't think cocaine is strong enough. I think
Okay, so yes to meth,
yes to meth,
no to coke.
no to coke, and that's my presidential campaign is yes to meth.
Yeah, is it like Morgan? Yes to meth. Bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Morgan 2024.
Yeah.
Yes to meth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think meth is one of those like where, because it's like when I take Adderall, because I can eat on coke. It's never bothered, it's never stopped me.
Yeah.
But
Every time you do meth, you can't eat.
no, I mean I've done Adderall. Adderall, I cannot eat on Adderall.
What do you know the percentage they say that Adderall is meth? They say it's like a pretty close, right?
It's baby meth.
It's meth for
It's
babies.
Meth Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine a baby on meth. Yo, they
Yeah,
would be
once
putting
you-
those.
see, like,
They would be building those blocks, like so
Yeah.
hard. They would fit the square into the circle.
Yeah, they can know their
Peg.
shapes like a motherfucker.
No, they wouldn't know it. They would be doing shit like that you're not supposed to be able to do.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
You ever see a puzzle put
It's
together
like
by
how-
a meth head? It's like none of the pieces are supposed to fit, but they all do now, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, it's done. 1,000 pieces. How about
Yeah.
that in a half hour? All right.
Yeah, you give a baby meth, he's fucking stripped his stroller for parts.
Yeah.
Added a fucking engine to his training potty.
Yeah. You think he didn't sleep through the night before?
Yeah. No. Meth baby, bad. No good.
Don't judge. Don't blame the meth baby, right? Blame
No,
his
it's not
parents.
his fault. I mean, it's
Meth
no
baby's
good
not
to
bad.
make the meth baby.
Meth baby's parents bad.
Yeah. Or is that?
Don't hate the player, okay? Hate the game.
The game of giving babies meth.
Hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that. Every time I see somebody giving baby meth,
Can't babies not breathe out of their nose or their mouth? There's a hole they can't breathe out of. That is one of the.
their ass.
No, that's turtles.
No, I'm saying they can't breathe out their ass.
Yeah. Can you?
If they could, maybe Kaylee and Anthony still
I
be
wouldn't
alive.
want to fucking breathe out of my ass, dude. With what goes on down there,
Yeah,
I want to.
it's bad breath.
Yeah, it's like a halitosis, man.
Ooh, yeah.
But
You ever
there's
smell your own
something-
fart and you're like, this is good?
sometimes when you eat a lot of meat,
Well, if you eat something
if you eat like
really delicious,
if you eat really good like brisket or fajitas, and then you fart and it's like, ooh, is the waiter
but
back?
it has to be fresh though. Like the fart has to be from a fresh
yeah,
meal.
yeah.
It can't be a fart from yesterday's
No, it can't be
dinner.
fermented.
It's a fart from, like, let's say you've had fajitas, right?
Yeah,
And the fart has to happen while you can still hear the fajitas.
yeah,
And if you fart then,
yeah.
it could be that's a winner.
Yeah, you get your fajitas, you start eating them, and then you fart, and the table next to you is like, is our food coming out?
Yeah. They're not even smelling the fajitas.
Yeah, yeah.
They're smelling your fart.
Yeah,
That's
they're like,
delicious.
I think the waiters bringing our stuff.
Right. And then they change their order. Like, wait, give me fajitas.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then they get it, and they're disappointed because actually
It's not as good as the fart.
the fart.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's kinda
Oh,
like,
man,
you know how
you-
like bats make guano.
Yeah.
And guano is like really good. I think
Fertilizer.
it's fertilizer, right?
Yes.
I think the perfect fart can advertise the food in a
Yeah.
way because it's like, yeah,
You know what's
your
weird?
fart's gonna smell this good too if you eat this, and if the fart smells good, those fajitas banging. Okay, I'm talking guac, everything fresh.
Bell pepper farts smell a lot like bell pepper. If you've ever like just eaten bell pepper by itself, maybe you haven't, but
Why not? It just doesn't taste good by itself.
it's fine.
Maybe put a little. I mean, you're wasting it. I feel like you're wasting bell pepper because it makes so much. It makes so many foods taste better. Like it makes steak taste better. So
Yeah.
when you're eating bell pepper by itself, it's like you're wasting. It's like eating onions by themselves. It's like onions they enhance other flavors, but
Yeah.
oh, I love bell peppers, man. I love peppers. Peppers might be my. I'm starting to maybe learn that peppers might be my favorite food because of what they do to other foods. Now it's not always spice. Green peppers, sweet peppers, they add flavor.
Well, if we're going off of what adds flavor to shit, then like I would say like garlic is better.
Garlic
than,
is amazing.
better than peppers.
Sure. But garlic and peppers, woo, we're doing We're doing some of God's magic now,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Can y'all tell we're on a diet? So good. So much of our
How much discipline?
conversation.
Come on. We got 2 combo boxes basically from
Yeah,
Taco Bell, and we all both only ate one item for
yeah,
lunch.
yeah,
That's willpower, man. And
yeah.
it now it's getting cold in the fridge, and it's not gonna be as good when we eventually do eat it. And that's willpower, man. Because it used to be a thing that I'm like, I have to eat it now because this is when it's gonna be at its in Peru we say in su punto, at its peak. You know what I mean?
And su puto.
Punto.
No, puto, bitch.
All right, bitch.
And you, bitch.
In your bitch, actually. No, actually, in your faggot. Well, puto means a gay man.
Oh, okay.
Puta is
Bitch.
slut.
Slut. Yeah, okay. Well, that faggot.
But yeah, when it's at its peak. So like that used to be my philosophy for food. Um, and recently, now that I'm counting calories
Yeah,
and
eating
stuff.
food at its peak brought you to rock bottom.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
not the Rock. I don't look like the Rock. I look like
No,
Rikishi.
you don't even look like the rock's bottom. You,
Yeah.
you look like a man.
I
He
look
doesn't
like a
even have.
random. I look like a
There's
random
no
guy named
part.
Dwayne.
There's no part of the rock that looks anything like you.
I have the body of a dude named Dwayne. Just
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
he can kind of fix lawnmowers, but not really.
yeah.
You got any gas? You got to put. Hey, ain't got no gas in it.
Ain't got no gas in it.
Hmm.
I like Sling Blade. Man, a lot of good movies about
Carl.
retarded people.
I love Carl, man.
He's a good guy.
God, I wish he existed.
I don't. But no, I. It is crazy. It's so there's so many good movies about mentally challenged people. It really like it strikes you in a way that movies about regular people don't.
So you know how we were talking about alcohol taking inhibitions away?
Yeah,
I do also think retardation
yeah,
does take inhibitions away.
yeah. Do you think your dad would love you more if he was retarded?
Yeah. So much more. He'd think I'm an overachiever. He'd be like, "Oh my
Yeah,
God, you're so smart. You're so good at math." But the
yeah.
way it is now, it's like you're not an
I tell you
engineer.
what, man. Having a dad with a fifth grade education, no, sorry, seventh grade education,
Yeah,
he thought I was a fucking genius.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm so jealous of that.
yeah,
My dad has a degree in engineering.
yeah. Well, at least your dad could help you get into college. Mine didn't even know how they worked. You know, like
My dad didn't really help me get into college.
no,
He well,
he didn't tell you to at
the
least
only
take the SAT or something.
I mean, I knew to take the ACT. It wasn't.
Where did you learn that from?
I mean, everyone was taking it. It was like you're a loser if you wouldn't take the ACT.
Hmm.
I mean, I went to a high school where everyone was planning on going to college. It was kind of
Yeah,
understood. Either you're gonna go to college, or you're gonna get a job right away out of, and it's gonna, or you're gonna work for. But yeah, everyone went to college, even if it was a bad or not bad, but just like a technical college or
hmm.
whatever.
Well, it's
But
weird
yeah,
because everybody it was like my school was the same way, but nobody talked about the process because everybody's parents helped them with it. Everybody's like mom helped them apply to colleges and like take the tests they're supposed to do and shit.
I think I kind of like I might have asked my dad or like, and I think he just would just be annoyed and would just be like, figure it out,
Yeah.
and so I would,
Mhm.
and I did. Like I filled out everything by myself. I applied for everything by myself. I probably could have got more stuff if I would have, had somebody that. The thing is also my dad, when he went to college, it was like $400 a semester.
Yeah.
You know, he went to college in the 80s.
Yeah.
And so he was very stubborn about it. He was like, when I went to college, I paid for my whole tuition just with a job working at Hardee's,
So
you know?
fucking stupid. No
Well,
offense, your dad's not stupid. Just his generation is very unempathetic to inflation and the way that it actually is, and the disparity between tuition and what you make at jobs versus whenever they were growing up.
so
It's ignorance. It's not stupid. It's ignorance.
and right, it's not stupid, and it's not like when that guy was saying was being a bully. It's not weird. I think the real word is in this situation, it's it's like it's kind of cruel in a way. It's like
It gives them a sense of superiority
yes,
to see us struggle.
right.
And to admit that things have actually become harder for us means that they have to admit that they had it easier. And
Yes.
they didn't have to work as hard as us. They didn't have it as difficult. And then they have to, yeah, they have to admit, like, well, you know, actually, I was privileged.
Hmm.
And getting a fucking, like, a boomer to admit that they were privileged is the hardest thing in the world.
Yes, because they
That's
run
their one
their
sense of
engine
pride a lot of
right.
the time.
Yeah, their engine runs on pride
Yeah.
that they are so special
Yeah.
when their whole generation had it easy.
Yeah.
None of them are really that special in this particular regard. Oh, you had your own house, and oh, you were a truck driver, and you had your own 2-story house.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so
They're
we have
like, you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and it's like, we can't afford boots.
sure we could, but
You know what I mean, though?
I,
It's
I,
like
I know
we
what you
don't
mean. Yeah, the
metaphor.
intention. So like right now we live in basically what is like a prison cell space. This
Yeah.
room,
Yeah.
this is really the only. I mean, if we had a really mean host, they'd be able to have an argument for like try to stay in your room, don't come out into the rest of the house. Now we don't. We have a very nice host, and if we
Yeah.
wanted to hang out in the living room, we probably could.
But it's not
No-
comfortable.
well, it's not comfortable because we have shame.
Yes.
We're not shameless enough to just be in the backyard like it's our home. We barely use the kitchen because it just doesn't feel. And I think part of the reason we don't use the kitchen is because her bedroom is right across from it,
Yeah.
and it's like all we want to be able to talk. We want to be able to, and every noise that we make, and then the dogs and stuff. And it's like we feel like we're inconveniencing her. So
Yes.
we'd rather stay in here, keep our stuff in the fridge.
Keep to ourselves.
I might buy a little hot pot thing. If it didn't have carpet, I might buy like a little stove and
Remember
cook in
whenever
here.
you were talking about putting a coffee maker in here in the carpeted room?
Yeah.
No. I was just. It'd be so hard, difficult to get out of there.
Yeah. Coffee is pretty cheap, so it's not really
Yeah, you
an
go to
issue.
7-Eleven
Yeah,
and
just go
get one with
7-Eleven.
all the cool shit with it instead
Yeah.
of having to buy like an $8 bottle of creamer and
They got that
fucking-
nitro and cold brew and stuff.
Yeah, espresso and shit.
I don't know if they have espresso.
Sometimes they do. Circle K.
Circle K does,
Circle K has espresso shots.
and they're free.
I mean, it comes with the coffee.
Because
So-
I've seen before they had like a pump that's like a espresso. I don't know if it was actual espresso, caffeine espresso, or if it's just like flavor or what. But like a espresso shot, like a Starbucks, it's like $1 something.
Yeah, it's
And,
Starbucks. You can barely get a fucking water there without paying.
But I mean, if you're at Circle K and you're telling me they got espresso shots for free, man, you could basically make meth.
I mean, you have to pay for it like you have to pay for a coffee.
Well, you
But-
pay for the coffee, but then you get like the
You
buffet.
can put
It's like a
espresso in
little,
it. Yeah, I've
like
done
a
that.
salad bar,
I've done that before.
coffee bar of.
I think I did that on our road trip where I like kept putting espresso in it, and then I had to like put more coffee, and then it wasn't full, so I put like more espresso in it and shit. What were we getting at? Oh, boomers.
Oh yeah, so I want to get back to so what they're really doing is it's like they know they're wrong. They're not stupid. I mean, people with college degrees, they're not stupid, but it's willful ignorance.
Yes.
Is that and we don't hold them to it as much. We're not letting. We should stop being like boomers are so dumb to think this is like no. They know what they're doing, and they're being unfair. They're
Yeah.
being unfair on purpose because it makes them look better. It makes you look worse.
Yeah.
And so like
Nobody wants to work anymore. You guys don't want to pay people anymore. That's the problem. Nobody wants to pay anyone anymore.
yeah, we work full time. I work
Yeah.
full time to afford a room in 30 miles or 30 minutes from downtown. And if I could work full time in Austin in 1980,
We'd have a house.
we'd have a house and
Yeah.
it'd be downtown.
Yeah, if both of us worked in the
Yeah.
80s,
Right.
we'd have a huge fucking house.
Yeah. And I feel like our parents they're kind of similar age, but our parents' generation, they look down on Airbnb. They look down on
Yes.
you renting a room because they think that
That's their one sense of superiority. That's all they have is their fucking house.
they think that it means we're lazy and not working hard enough to
Yeah.
afford a home when it's like
Yeah.
how expensive just a small home is.
I would fucking love to see some of the people that worked at my office do DoorDash for a day.
Yeah.
I would love to see them just fucking try to do that shit.
When you were a receptionist,
Yeah.
that job.
Yeah.
What do you think would be the biggest obstacle for them?
Uh, not being rude, pieces of shit. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, following instructions, moving around, figuring stuff out, because I think that, I mean, honestly, I didn't have to use a lot of problem solving skills working there.
Right. It was easy.
It was easy. And I mean, as
The
far
hardest
as, I
part was
mean,
having to deal with the egos
yeah, just
and
it was
to,
the people. The people were the worst part, but people are almost always the worst part of any job.
especially I think when you have to see the same. I think the biggest part that I like about DoorDash is that I rarely have to see the same person
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and
they can't
so if they're rude to
like
me,
you or dislike you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a one-off. If they're rude, cool. I never have to see you again. This is a massive city.
there's a manager at McDonald's that was so rude to me, and I made a review. Actually, took a picture of them
Yeah.
and put that in the review. But it was far enough that you couldn't really see their face. But I'm like, if you really went to that McDonald's, you could tell which one I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
But then I went back like 6 months later, recently, and she was nice,
Yeah.
so I deleted the photo.
Tuh.
But I still left a bad review.
Yeah.
Maybe I should change it. Be like, everything's fixed now. She was nice to me 6 months later.
It's funny.
But the reason that she was mean to me the first time was because a lot of DoorDashers are rude,
Yes.
and what they do is they stick the phone in your face.
Absolutely. And I see it. I see it all the time, especially
Yeah.
the ones that don't speak very good English.
Right.
And then there's a way to, well, first of all, you shouldn't be doing this job if you don't speak English. It's in English. I think there's other jobs you could probably do, or just learn English in America.
If you don't speak English and you're able to do the job and keep your rating high enough to where you don't get deactivated, I think then there's no problem with it. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I would say that that's the reason that we have the deactivation policy. So like, if you don't speak English and it leads to you offending people, where they're reporting you, or it leads to you being late, then I think that it weeds itself out. But I mean, obviously, I think everyone should learn English because it's. I mean, it's in this country. It's gonna
It's
be.
the
It's for your own.
language.
It's for your own good. It's not
People in other countries learn English.
Yeah.
Like most people in Spain and shit know English.
Yeah, in a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And I mean, you should. I don't think you should have to.
Yeah.
But it's for your own good. But
But I mean, the thing is, though, is that there are
mhm.
jobs where you can just speak Spanish.
Yeah.
There's plenty of jobs where that's okay. Where you work with other people. Because, I mean, yeah, I've been to a lot of, like, excuse me, restaurants or mechanic shops or shit like that where nobody speaks English, but then there's one person who does.
Yeah.
And they just kind of go through that person. And shit gets done. It gets done. They just have to ask this person to translate if the person doesn't speak Spanish, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bother me. But the reason it kind of bothers me is that a lot of them don't practice tact when it comes to, like, I mean, at least learn basic phrases like, excuse me, I have a DoorDash, and then kind of show them.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
Right.
hello, like, you know, they do that shit sometimes.
I feel like sometimes they're aggressive because maybe it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Because they know they don't speak English correctly, and so if they're aggressive, then you won't call them on it. That's something that my dad and his wife would do sometimes.
Really?
When I would correct their English,
Mm-hmm.
is they would get aggressive.
It's weird.
Well, I know exactly why they do it. It's not weird.
Sorry.
While I correct your English this whole episode, I'm not trying to be annoying, but I want to stop vague words in like our society in general, because I feel like it lets them off. It lets people off the hook by saying that's weird, that's strange, that's odd. It's not. They're scared of being judged.
I'm gonna judge you way fucking more if you're a dick.
Right, but you won't do it to their faces if you're scared. You know, because you're like, well, how are they gonna react? I know you. I mean, if you think someone might yell at you, you won't get in their face. Like you don't.
I don't get in anybody's faces,
right,
whether or not they are gonna yell at me or not.
But
I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you avoid conflict.
Yeah.
And and people shouldn't have to one-on-one engage with conflict on a day-to-day basis. But I think that's if we start to change the language that we use for things, it's like a way to acknowledge that these people are wrong in their behavior. They're not.
Okay, your parents are awful. How about that?
Well,
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
in this particular
That
case,
behavior is
the
awful.
behavior is it's defensive in a way because they are probably if they get deep down to it, they're ashamed that they don't learn how to speak better. You
Yeah.
know, so instead of like when Dad would say, like when I would try to correct him, instead of being like, "Oh, thank you, okay, I'll use that," he'll say, "Well, it doesn't matter," or he'd say, "I like my accent. I get compliments on my accent." And like, you know, that's what separates me from other people is the way I sound and people like it. And I'm like, you know, you're making all these
There's
excuses.
a difference between having an accent, and accents are cool. Like, yeah, an accent is cool. There's a difference between that and not knowing words or grammar. You can have an accent but use proper grammar and use the proper vocabulary
Yeah. Right. It's a difference between accent and just not speaking
and
correctly.
understanding, comprehension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if he knew English better, he would know that he's not talking about accent. What he's really talking about
Yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly.
But he also is right because I know that I'm pretty sure one of my stepmom's favorite things about my dad is the way he speaks English.
Mhm.
And it's something that they can bond on, that they both speak English in their own way that is not 100% correct, but
Yeah.
like it's like they bond over it, you know?
Well, yeah, it's also why unfunny girls will date unfunny male comics. You know, comics that aren't funny date each other because they can bond over not being funny. Doesn't mean it's good.
Yo, they probably go home after like both bombing and just have the best sex over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why
Oh,
we
they didn't get
kill
it. Yeah, it was a weird crowd.
that's why we kill so often. We
Mhm.
go home and masturbate so single.
Separately.
Yeah, like God intended.
Yeah.
I like doing it in the bed. It's no big. I mean, also the podcast, but I like.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I thought this was fun.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too. Are we done?